We get a lot of clients coming in here who want to get their permanent makeup eyebrows removed. But the number one question and concern that they have all the time is, are my eyebrows going to fall out? The number one reason why this is happening is because the wrong laser is being used. In the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen a lot of studios open up, but they haven't purchased the right laser. The faster the speed, the less damage to the skin. But using the wrong technique, you could also damage hair follicles and you could damage the existing hairs on the outside. So how can you avoid this when you're looking to get your permanent makeup removed? Welcome to the Faded Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to talk about permanent makeup removal and hair loss. When I talk about permanent makeup removal, I'm talking about eyebrows. We get a lot of clients coming in here who want to get their permanent makeup eyebrows removed. But the number one question and concern that they have all the time is, are my eyebrows going to fall out? Am I going to lose my hair follicles? Are my brows going to be singed? Are the hairs going to become damaged? We get the question all the time, and I understand why people ask this question. If you go online, if you go through, the chat forums, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, wherever you go to get your information, you're going to find somebody who's sharing their story about how they got their permanent makeup removed, but their hair fell out. Now, why is that happening? What's the reason why hair would fall out after getting laser? It's a simple answer, really. The hair follicles are being damaged. That's number one. You can have hair follicles being damaged and the hair won't grow back. Number two, the hairs may be singed on the outside of the skin and it just burns the hair and the hairs break off and it looks like you lost hair. Those are the two reasons why people experience hair loss. Either the hair follicles are damaged or the hair outside of the skin, the exterior hair, is being damaged by the laser. And sometimes it just takes all the pigment out, but the hair doesn't fall off, so it looks like it's just white hair. There are ways to avoid that. The number one reason why this is happening is because the wrong laser is being used. If the wrong laser is being used, then you could almost guarantee that your hairs are going to fall out, whether it's from internal hair follicle damage or if it's because the hairs were burnt on the outside of the skin and they just fell off. Either way, the wrong laser will do that to your hairs. Number two is technique. You could be using the right equipment, but using the wrong technique, you could also damage hair follicles and you could damage the existing hairs on the outside. So how can you avoid this when you're looking to get your permanent makeup removed? Number one is make sure that the laser studio that you're going to is using the right equipment. We recommend the Pico Way. The Pico Way has the fastest pulse duration out of any laser on the market. And when we talk about pulse duration, it's actually the speed of the pulse. The faster the speed, the less damage to the skin. And the faster the speed, the less heat that's transferred. So the heat is what is going to kill a hair follicle. The slower the pulse duration, the more heat will be transferred. And the more heat, the greater the chance of your hair follicles being damaged. The faster the pulse duration, the less heat and the less damage to your skin and hair follicles. Simple. So how do you know which laser's right and which one's not? In the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen a lot of studios open up, whether they're existing brow artists or tattoo artists or people who are just trying to get into the laser tattoo removal game. We've seen a lot of people open up shop, but they haven't purchased the right laser. They've gone out and they've gotten a knockoff, whether it's a Toro or a Magic One or the Pico One. That there's a lot of advertisements out there now, and they like to throw the term Pico in there. And a lot of people are being convinced that just because it says Pico, that it's comparable to some of the brand names like Pico Way or Pico Sure. Now, It may be, but chances are, if it's a knockoff, it's probably shooting a much slower pulse duration with a lot lower peak power. So what does that mean exactly? A slower pulse duration, like I mentioned earlier, is going to deliver a lot more heat to the skin. More heat, the greater the chances of you having hair follicle damage or singeing the hairs that exist already. Number two, the low peak power. If it doesn't have the peak power necessary to break up that pigment, then you're going to require a lot more sessions to remove that pigment. So it's not only about the pulse duration, it also has to do with the power. What you want is a fast laser that's strong. And I know that's a lot of jargon, a lot of stuff that you may or may not understand. What you can do is just look for a couple different lasers, and I'll give you a hint. Either the Pico Way or coming in at second place would be the Pico Sure. If I were you, I'd probably go with the Pico Way. There's a bunch of Pico Ways out there, which brings us to the second point. And this is very important. Just because you have the proper equipment, that does not mean you know how to operate it. So not only is it important to have the proper equipment, it's important to know how to use that equipment so you can get the results you're looking for without damaging the skin. And I use this analogy all the time. You could have the keys to a Ferrari, and that Ferrari could be in your driveway. That doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to drive. Let me recap that. The two things that you're looking for when you're getting your permanent makeup brows lasered off are, number one, the equipment being used. Is the proper equipment being used at the studio? Number two, is the person who is operating that equipment capable? Are they using the proper technique? And are they experienced with doing laser tattoo removal? And like I said, there's a lot of people trying to get into the game, and they're great at marketing and they talk a big game and they're showing some great results. But if you're not using the proper equipment, you could suffer from some adverse reaction that might not happen right away. Your hair follicles could be damaged, and you'll find out months later when your hairs aren't coming back that, oh, wow, during the process, I must have damaged my hair follicles. And the last thing you want to do is remove your permanent makeup and reveal your natural hairs only to have your hairs fall out. So my advice would be go and find a laser tattoo removal studio that's using the right equipment, the proper technique, and a person or a team who has experience removing permanent makeup. That's how I recommend avoiding hair loss during the laser tattoo removal process. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We do free consultations. We are happy to accept clients from all over the world. People come to us from all over the place because they trust us. They know we do a good job, and it's worth it to them, a peace of mind knowing that their tattoo will be removed without having any adverse reactions. Thank you for tuning in to the Faded Podcast, and we look forward to seeing you here again.